one of my dear friends is Yusuf Abramjee. But when you hear some people say when they hear my name, they're afraid. I don't know why. But when they hear his name, then I'm even more afraid because he's really that crime activist and a man without fear. And I think that many people speak to Yusuf about criminal matters and issues going on. But how many people speak about Yusuf? And I just want to know, Yusuf, when you describe Yusuf Abramjee, who are you? And don't tell me the crime activist.
Well, Faizal, I'm just an ordinary person trying to make a small difference wherever I can. And thank you for the opportunity to chat to you. I know that we've been talking a lot and I've been following your expose on the Umrah swindler. And congratulations for making a difference and for standing up for the rights of ordinary people who are voiceless. The mere fact that you expose the alleged scammer, and I'm saying alleged because he's still before a court of law, and the mere fact that people came to you losing hundreds of thousands of rands shows the difference that people like you make in our community, standing up for the rights of others. And I think we all have a moral and a civic obligation to raise our voices, to expose wrongdoing. And we all know that crime is rampant in every corner of South Africa, whether it's the scams that you are fighting, whether it's a violent crime, whether it is other forms of crime. We are living in a bloody country where blood, bodies and bullets has become a way of life. And it brings me to Cape Town because we know that even in Cape Town, the Table Mountain National Park, we've had scores of muggings over the past few weeks. We know the Cape Flats where gang violent activity is rampant. We know extortion records, and we've even had several cases of our prominent business people being kidnapped for ransom. So I think importantly, it's all about us as a community, as a collective, and as individuals standing up and making a difference and fighting the scourge.
Now, did you see what happened there? He did exactly what I predicted he's going to do. 2-3 days ago, I had Sheikh Fatar on the show. I asked him about himself, and he ran on with the work that he does. So now I'm going to repose the question again, okay? Because Yusuf, this happens when you become the work yourself. You a living embodiment of that activism in South Africa. The entire country knows what you're doing to protect. I can't think of any single person that's protecting our society more than you. But I'm going to again pose the question, and that is, I'm trying to understand Yusuf Abramjee. What is his philosophies and who is he? Because everyone sees this tough guy there on screen all the time on ENCA, heavy on social media, big following that you have, probably to a point where it's become a cult following. But at that point, I just want to know, when I ask who's Yusuf Abramjee at home at night, and I don't want to call your wife about this.
Well, I'm just an ordinary person trying to make a small difference, Faizal. I hate talking about myself. I hate using the word I. I always like to talk about we. It's a collective. We have to have a team effort. I can make a small difference to expose the wrongdoing, whether it's violent crime or posting the viral videos on social media. But at the end of the day, what we need is government to stand up and to acknowledge that we have a crime problem. And if we don't raise our voices, if we don't speak up, we're in serious trouble. We know that we are living in a violent country. Crime is killing South Africa. And if we don't take an active stand and try to make a difference, we're in serious trouble. It's a beautiful country. Look at the lifestyle that we have. And that is why the longer we're going to keep silent about fighting the scourge, whether it's me, whether it's you, whether it's anyone else, we'll be failing ourselves and we'll be failing our country. So I'm trying to make a very small difference in whatever form I can through my shows on ETV and ENCA called Crime Watch Weekly. And hopefully, if government can stand up and acknowledge that we have a problem, we can hopefully, inshallah, win this war one day.
So I have a slightly second failed attempt because he's not going into Yusuf. But now I'm giving up Yusuf because I can truly say that you and your life is purely about protecting South Africans. Because when a man cannot speak about himself, but what needs to be done in this world, then I've come to the conclusion that your life is truly for us South Africans. on behalf of South Africans, I want to thank you, Yusuf, because I think that in retrospect, following your Twitter account, which is very large, and you doing what you're doing and doing what you're doing on ETV and ENCA, I think you might have saved many people. You've saved many lives. I think people are taking the advice because you provide the advice at the same time. And it's those basic things, pull your car in the garage first before you close that garage up, for example. It's those basic things that save lives. What is your message to South Africa? We know that South Africans and we travel abroad. When we abroad, our shoulders are down. I come back sometime to South Africa and they need to shout at me in Johannesburg airport that you're back again. What are you doing? Why is your bag standing there? But when you're abroad, then you let go a little bit and you do funny things. So people that haven't traveled abroad don't know that idea of really being free because we live in a little cage. But I know there's a lot of crime going on and different types of crime. But what's your advice to South Africans in general, especially noting the idea that there's a psychology at play at the same time, and that is that we feel under pressure?
Faizal, this is our country. We were born here. We are not going anywhere. If we put up our hands and say to the criminals and to the organized crime syndicates, we are giving up, we'll be failing ourselves and we'll be failing our country. We are patriotic South Africans. We have to stand up for justice. We have to stand up for human rights. We have to stand up for peace. And really, if we don't get angry about the crime situation and about the corruption that's killing South Africa, we are in serious trouble. We have to take the stand. And my appeal to South Africans is that everyone has a role to play. You expose the Umrah swindler. I'm doing a bit of awareness in my own small way. I'm doing a bit of activism where I can. Every bit of action will make a big difference. We have to model the way. We have to inspire a shared vision. We have to celebrate our successes. And that is what leadership is all about. And it's up to all of us as a collective to make a difference. I was involved over many years in humanitarian efforts. You recall when we went to Syria together with a number of organizations, together when we collected 14 million rand and gave the MJC, the Africa Muslims Agency, the Al Imdad Foundation, and other charities, at least somebody benefited. It's not about me, it's about we as South Africans. And I think as a Muslim community especially, we have to be proud Muslims to say, let's stand up, let's make a difference. And it's about acts of kindness, acts of small acts that will make a big difference. And when it comes to the fight against crime, and as we know, we cannot allow these criminals to run amok. Our people are being killed. We've had how many people, children who have lost their parents who have lost their children because of the bullets and that we see flowing every day. And really, if we don't take a stand against the lawlessness, we don't take a stand against the criminality, we'll be failing ourselves and we'll be failing our country. So I think it's important for us to stand united. And I often say to my ulama friends and our Maulanas and our muftis, the time for petty bickering is over. We must forget the internal politics and one criticizes the other. There are national issues that we need to confront. There are continental issues that we need to confront. And there are international issues that we need to confront. And I think it's important that we as a community stand united and we stand up and make a difference in our communities, not only for the Muslim community, but for every sector of society, because that is what South Africa is about. It's about a rainbow nation that we need to build, and we need to make sure that we create a safer and a peaceful South Africa.
There's a particular narrative that is going out at the moment, and I think, in my view, I'm not going to comment much about it, but I want to get your view on it. But there is a misconception and an understanding of where the deen fits in, the deen of Islam, and how that fits into criminal activity. When we take the Umrah swindler matter, we have a host of people saying, oh, but we are Muslims. Is this the way to deal with it? Should we be going to court? Must we use the judicial system? Must we use the criminal justice system? I want your view on that, because it is my opinion, and I'm not really going to go into my opinion, but just touching the surface, I think that if we used the justice system before, then we wouldn't have been at the airport on the 27th of December, like we have been running for the last 9 years in my time doing that. But what's your view? Because the line is blurred between hiding the sins of a fellow Muslim and then dealing with crimes and atrocities that affect our people?
Excellent question. And I'm happy you asked me this question because criminality knows no race, no boundaries, no religion. A criminal is a criminal. Whether he's a Christian, whether he's a Muslim, whether he's a Jew, whether he's a Hindu, makes absolutely no difference. There must be justice. We know that the criminal justice system in South Africa is failing us in many ways. We know it takes years before a case comes to trial. We know that violent criminals often get bail only to come out and recommit crimes. It's not being about a Muslim and protecting a Muslim. If somebody does injustice, we must take it up within the framework of the law. And I'm happy that people have opened criminal charges against the alleged swindler that he's now facing, and he will hopefully must get his day in court. We all fall victim to crime. I was a victim of a house invasion 10 years ago, Faizal. Within 48 hours, 2 suspects were arrested. They are still on trial 10 years later. They got bail on 2 occasions and they were re-arrested. Yes, we have problems with the criminal justice system, but again, many communities are getting fed up with the lawlessness. No wonder we have mob justice. We had mob justice in Gauteng. We've even seen a few incidents in the Western Cape. And really, we cannot take the law into our own hands. Our religion teaches us try to hide the sins of somebody, but at the end of the day, if people are involved in crime, the law must take its course. Because how long are these people going to get away with their wrongdoing? You might recall, I was involved in exposing Hello Darlings, the travel agent who who swindled millions of rands. She then fled apparently to Dubai, and I'm told that extradition arrangements are now in place. She must come back and face the full might of the law. If these people get away with it, if they keep on running away with people's hard-earned cash, we have a serious problem. And my appeal to all the victims is that do not pull back. Do not withdraw your statement. Have the guts to go to court, to stand before a magistrate or a judge and tell the court how much money you've lost. Because if you don't do it, these people will keep on reoffending. They'll keep on stealing millions of rands, and they'll enjoy a lifestyle of luxury with your hard-earned cash. So we must take a stand. And it's not a question about being a Muslim or a non-Muslim. It's a question about justice must take its course.
A lot of pertinent advice, and I think coming from you, I think it gives people that energy, because you'd know of all people, when you're dealing with a matter, people become a bit jittery. And when they start pulling out, the thing collapses. And when that collapses, then we have a repeat down the line. Just on this issue, I'll tell you what my thinking is. My thinking is that the sins we're talking about, if you know out there, people are coming to me and saying, my husband is sleeping around, my wife is sleeping around, will you please expose them? No, I can't do that. And I think that's the sins we're talking about. Don't approach us with those things. But these are crimes that affect large amounts of people. There are many people that have passed away without their Hajj and Umrah. If we don't take a stand, then who is going to take a stand? And now a precedent must be set in court with these things. But thank you, Yusuf. And we thank Yusuf for his time and effort, and we thank him for his commitment to us, the South Africans.